and our best efforts. It's not heaven that is our default destination. It's hell. This is the bad news. And look, I know that a lot of us, like some of you are, I can see you leaning back, like, I don't like this. I don't like that we're even talking about this. I don't like that we're bringing it up. And look, I get it. I don't like talking about it. In fact, I don't even like being around people who tend to talk about it, because those that tend to talk about hell, to be honest, they tend to be hell to be around, right? Like, I don't like it either, but the problem is sometimes because we don't like it, we tend to do two things in the context when it comes to sort of the theology, the bad news of these two eternal destinations, heaven or hell. When it comes to hell, we tend to just, one is either just avoid the conversation or try to just pretend like that it's not a reality. But here's the thing, and I've shared this before, but it's so true, is that just because you don't like something doesn't mean it's not true. I mean, think about it. I don't like the fact the Patriots won the Super Bowl. But that doesn't change the fact that the Patriots won the Super Bowl, right? And again, I get the pushback, especially when it comes to this idea of eternity, and especially in the context of a hell, of being separated from God. I mean, the pushback, the argument is that how could a loving God send anyone to hell, right? How could a loving God send anyone to hell? But the truth is that a loving God doesn't. A loving God doesn't, which brings us back to the very purpose and the reason and the why and the beauty of the cross. See, it's on the cross. You've got to understand, God left no doubt about his heart for you. Amen. On the cross, God left no doubt about his heart for you. As if God were not loving, if there was any doubt about how he feels about you, his heart towards you, listen, there would be no rescue mission. There would be no cross. There would be no Savior. If God weren't loving, if God didn't care what happened to you, if God didn't care about your eternity, if God didn't care about your life, there would be no Savior. There would be no Calvary. There would be no cross. But rather, it's because of the very fact he's so loving. Because he's so good that he saw something worth redeeming in you. He saw something beautiful in you. He saw something worth restoring, someone worth saving. Amen. In fact, the Bible puts it this way. It says, for the joy set before him, Christ died for you. Now, when he's talking about the joy, he's not talking about heaven in front of him. If that were the case, why even come down in the first place? I mean, like why ever leave heaven to come down to earth just to face a cross? No, the joy that he's speaking of is he's seeing you. He's seeing your face. He's seeing you in your good, your bad, your ugly, your brokenness. He's seeing you for the joy set before him, the possibility that maybe, just maybe, that they would see me not just as a good teacher, as a good Messiah, but as their Savior. And as a result, because of my grace and because of my forgiveness, that this joy, this possibility that they'd be able to spend eternity with Jesus, eternity with him. You're the reason set before him. That's why it says the joy set before him. See, through the cross, we see a God who not only doesn't choose for anyone to go to hell, but was willing to lose everything, that no one would perish, that no one would ever have to experience an eternity apart from God. This is the good news. This is the gospel. 2 Samuel 14:14 puts it like this. I love this. It says, like water spilled on the ground, which cannot be recovered, so we must die. But that is not what God desires. Rather, he devises ways so that a banished person does not remain banished from him. Listen, you don't have to doubt God's heart for you. You don't have to doubt God's choice when it comes to where you spend eternity. You know where he lands. He wants nothing. He's willing to lay it all on the line, that you'd spend eternity with him. And on that Good Friday 2,000 years ago, that's what Jesus was doing. He was releasing the dead man's handle for each and every one of us, that because of his sacrifice, hell doesn't have to be our default destination anymore. See, in the words on that cross, going back to those words, Father, forgive them, Jesus was revealing not just our need for a Savior, not just a need for a Messiah, not just a need for a good teacher, not just a need for maybe a great motivational speaker to give us a pep talk every once in a while. But he revealed our deepest need, our need for a Savior. Someone who could literally rescue us from ourselves. I remember some years ago, I had the opportunity to travel to Tanzania. And in Tanzania, they don't have like Walmarts or Freddy's. They don't have these great grocery stores to get fresh produce. Well, actually, I should take that back. Like they actually have really fresh produce. In fact, way more fresh than ours. But oftentimes when you're in Tanzania, in fact, I remember being in Tanzania and actually going to sort of one of their little convenience stores, which is typically like a little shack, and they've got like a little lamb or a goat, and they'll have like chickens, like literally like chickens, live chickens right there. I'm telling you, this is super fresh. Like there's no frozen food aisle in these convenience stores. And so I remember going there, and I remember looking and noticing that one of the guys who was shopping at this convenience store, on the handlebars of his bike were 2 chickens tied to the front of it. 2 chickens just tied there, and just hanging out. Oh, this is great, they're just looking around, and as I'm looking at these chickens, because I know where their destination is. Like, I know that this guy's not buying them for a pet. Let's just put it that way. And so I'm looking at these chickens, and it was almost like a PETA commercial in my mind. Like I can hear the Sarah McLachlan music going, and my heart's breaking towards these chickens. I'm like, there's got to be something I can do. How can I save these chickens? What can I do to rescue them? And the most discouraging aspect to it was that there really wasn't anything I could do. Because when it came to what they needed most, I couldn't give to them. What they needed most in that moment was they didn't need encouragement. They didn't need a Tony Robbins pep talk. Like, you can do it. If you believe enough, guys, you can flap those wings. You can get out of the bondage you're in. You can make it through this. They didn't need a Dr. Phil moment. Hey, let's discuss how this is making you feel. Like, how do you really feel, about being tied up to some handlebars? No, what they needed most was a rescue. What they needed most was someone to show up and to untie them and to change the very course of their destination, to pay a price that they couldn't pay on their own. By the way, if that sounds familiar, it should. Because again, that's the gospel message, right? See, on that cross 2,000 years ago, Father, forgive them weren't the only words Jesus spoke. He also spoke some other words. One of which was a phrase, tetelestai. And tetelestai literally meant it is finished. A lot of your translations say it is finished, but it's actually more accurately translated paid in full. Paid in full. It's a financial term. So whenever a debt had been paid or whenever an account had been settled with somebody, they'd speak this phrase, tetelestai, literally meaning it has been paid in full. See, and this is important for us to get. Because the cross not only leaves no doubt about God's heart for us, but also the cross leaves no doubt about our future with Him. If you've called on Jesus, if you ask for help, you realize your need of not simply a Messiah, not just a great motivational speaker, but a Savior. You've asked Jesus to come into your life. Listen, this whole topic, this whole aspect of where we're spending eternity, it's not about stirring up fear. It's actually just the opposite. It's about stirring up faith. See the cross, what He did for us on the cross, it leaves no doubt about our future with Him. And so when it comes to our future, we no longer have to accept our fate, but rather we can walk in faith. Faith in knowing my freedom has already been bought and paid for in full. That by His grace, my debts have been forgiven. Because something you've got to understand is that when it comes to eternity, when it comes to heaven, it's not good people who go to heaven. It's simply forgiven people. It's forgiven people. It's simply by His grace. It's simply by His mercy. It's simply by His love poured out in full on that cross on Calvary. See, I can look at my future with confidence. My salvation is settled because of what He did for you and for I on that mountaintop known as Golgotha. And it's this reminder that it's not about what I do or what I've done, but simply what he did for us on the cross. This price has been paid in full. And listen, in case you're here and you're like, that's great, but that doesn't seem like it's quite enough for me. Like I don't. You tell me that I don't have to worry about this. I've made a decision for Christ, but I don't have to worry about my future. That's great. Those are great words, great comfort, great encouragement. But how do I really know? How do I really know that there's no doubt when it comes to my future with Jesus? Well, I'll tell you how. You know, is 3 days later, Jesus was sent a confirmation notice. Because I don't know if you know this, but the actual story doesn't stop on Good Friday. Like 3 days later, like this is the halfway mark. You know, it's like a Hallmark movie that sort of ends when it shouldn't end. I mean, it's, you know, this is the halfway mark. Like there's something else. See, it doesn't end on Good Friday at the cross. It ends on a Sunday at an empty tomb. See, what you've got to understand is that if there's any doubt about your future with God, all you got to do is look at the confirmation notice. The confirmation notice. You ever got a confirmation notice? I had to buy some tickets for some plane tickets to go for some conference for Foursquare here in about a month. And of course, after we bought the tickets, they sent us some time right after that a confirmation notice to remind us and to speak to us that what we had just investigated, what we had just signed up for had already been bought and paid for. There was a receipt. It was a confirmation notice. It was this reminder that listen, when I show up to the airport, I'm not going to be rushed off to prison and the TSA is not going to tackle me. I've got this settled. My future, my destination, my travel plans are already settled. And listen again, that's what Easter is for us. See, Easter is God's confirmation notice of the price that has been paid in full, past, present, future, because of which and because of this, we can look to our future with faith, because it's faith rooted not in empty words, not in empty promises, but in an empty tomb. Our faith, our confidence, our hope. Why I don't have to be afraid looking to the future. Why I can walk with confidence when I look at my future, not just on this side of eternity, but on the other side of eternity, is because all I got to do is look at the confirmation notice of a risen King, a risen Lord, a risen Savior. That's the story.
You need not say goodbye. The people will shout my name. Pilate will tell them there's nothing I have done to deserve this, but they will refuse. Pilate will stand me beside Barabbas, a murderer, and they will choose him over me. Pilate will appeal to the priest, insist on simply whipping me to appease their fury, but they will shout it louder. Crucify, crucify. But still, you need not say goodbye. My hands will be tied to a post. The sound of the whip will ring in your ears and in your chest. The soldiers will peel the skin off my back. A ring of thorny branches will be pressed into my scalp until the blood runs into my eyes. Oh, but listen. You need not say goodbye. I will carry that cross. I will go to the place of the skull, and there they will drive the iron stakes between the bones in my wrist, and with a hammer they will nail my feet into the tree. I will be raised up as the world waits for me to die. Nevertheless, you need not say goodbye. Between two thieves I will hang. You may hear me speaking to my Father, your Father. You may hear me ask him, why? But child, you need not say goodbye. What you won't see, what you won't hear, what you won't know until all of this is done, is that in that moment, I was of your wrongdoing, every mistake, every act of envy, every word of hatred, every moment of violence and greed and spite, every selfish desire, every lustful thought, every moment of weakness and weariness, all the failures of human history will be in my hands and on my head. On that cross, I will suffer the wrath that was destined for you. Every guilty verdict fallen on me, your punishment will be paid for in my blood, and it will be enough. I will die on your cross. I will let out a final sigh. Know that I have loved you, and you need not say goodbye. But if you absolutely must say the word goodbye, then say it like this. Goodbye, fear. Goodbye, sorrow. Goodbye, rejection. Goodbye, shame. Say it like this. Goodbye, guilt. Goodbye, condemnation. Goodbye, all the regrets of the past. Look up at the cross and speak the words. Goodbye, addiction. Goodbye, chains. Goodbye, hopelessness. Right here in this place, say it aloud. Goodbye, captivity. Hello, freedom. Goodbye, loneliness. Hello, belonging. Goodbye, defeat. Hello, victory. This is the end of the curse. This is the demise of the serpent. This is all debts paid. It is finished. Goodbye all the powers of hell. Goodbye darkness. Goodbye dread. Goodbye every sin. Go ahead and say it. Goodbye death. Speak. Be free. But don't say goodbye to me. Yes, you'll see them put the spear in my side. But remember, it's only Friday. So, you need not say goodbye.
Worship our God just for a few more minutes before we wrap this up. But why do we call it Good Friday? Because it wasn't good for him. But we call it Good Friday because it was good for us. That because of his sacrifice, because of the price he paid in full on that cross, because he chose to be the dead man's handle 2,000 years ago. There's no doubts when it comes to God's heart for us. There's no doubts when it comes to his love for us. There's no doubts when it comes to his desire for our eternal destiny. There's no doubts. And before we worship, with every head bowed, every eye closed, I don't want to just assume